We are back. Thanks for joining us on MorningLine, talking with the sheriff about a lot of things, COVID and folks who have encountered it. How are things going on at the sheriff's department right now? I know Carla sends out the numbers in the jail. Have you got it under control? I think you never didn't, but you had some escalating numbers. Where are you standing right now with the inmates and the testing?
Yeah, I mean, and there's two important numbers. The positive number, obviously, everyone's used to, and then the quarantine number. And quarantine in our operation is just as difficult because it really means you can't move people and they're not eligible to go programs and different various things are going on. So we have about 100 or so that are on quarantine today. I think the total positive is real low. It's 1 or 2 actual positive cases, waiting on results on some. We got 5 staff out positive today, 3 others waiting on results. That's been as low as we've been in months. I mean, we've been the upwards of 90 plus employees who have been positive over the time, far more than anyone else in the government. And it's been a very, very difficult thing to do, and I find myself getting phone numbers to call hospitals to check on staff when they're in the hospital, and it's just a terrible, for all reasons. It cramps your lifestyle. But when you go to work and you're having to make decisions about who do we send in to work in the jails because we have no staff, and we're sending in divisions that have not worked in the jails in 20-25 years just to have people. And
wow.
It's everyone has a story, and this sounds kind of weird too, but it's also very difficult, on the human nature that we're in. I mean, myself, my family, my employees. When you really get and sit and talk to each other, you find a lot of I don't know, just a lot of difficult and if not depressing thoughts. There's just not a future that we're excited about. There's not a lot of good things, and so it's I just ask you to take care of yourself, and I don't know what that is for you as a person. It's just a hard time, and I think we all have this dream, or I did, that there was going to be a whistle one day. They blow the whistle, we're back to normal. That's never going to happen.
I know.
We're not going to be in that frame ever again, and where it's just clear. So it's just limping along, get it done, and take care of your family and your friends, and make sure everybody that does the right thing while we're here.
Yeah, it's a whole new mindset. I feel the same way and deal with it the same way. Look, we have a few phone calls for you before we get to some other topics, and we'll go to Ron. Ron, good morning. Hi, Ron.
Yeah, good morning.
Morning.
Sheriff, there's 2 things I'd like to ask you about. One thing I want to ask you about is if you consider running for governor, because I know that you're not afraid to listen to other people's side, and it seems like we have a governor that doesn't want to listen to the protesters' side of what they have to say and let them stand out there for 2 months and then wants to make felons out of them. Another question is, what would you consider, there's 2 states in the United States that allow felons to vote, people in jail to vote, and would you consider doing that for all the prisoners in the jails of the state of Tennessee and in your jails, to allow them to not lose their rights to vote just because they've been arrested or just because they're a felon? If the United States would look back at the beginning of the country, our forefathers wouldn't have been able to vote if they were considered felons, and possibly they could have been.
Yeah, it's interesting too. The point he makes, it's going to be a matter of time, and we'll see when this law kicks in. If they arrest a protester for a felony on the Capitol, 1, they could end up coming to your jail. 2, he's right. If they get convicted of that felony, they lose their right to vote. And of course, they were politically protesting, so taking away their right to vote is even more damaging. So what do you think? The question about being governor and the question about voting, and are there some folks, and are they able to vote in the jail, whether they're felons and misdemeanors, with this upcoming election if they're behind bars?
Yeah, maybe those 2 questions answered each other.
Okay.
I appreciate him saying that, but I do not want to be the governor. God knows right now there's so many things challenging every executive office, and but I appreciate his comments. I've been in this for a long time, I guess nearly 30 years in different capacities, been elected for 20 years, and I've enjoyed what I've done. I've watched a lot of things. I've been able to enjoy, I think, and try to give back, and and still want to do that in some ways, but running for higher office is not really the way I see it. And unfortunately, maybe it's my own view, but just the role that these offices are playing now, whether it's mayor, governor, president, Congress, I just don't have as good of a taste in my mouth anymore as I used to about those things. That's not personal. It's not partisan. By the way, both parties are, in my opinion, out of touch with each other and the communities at large. That's my opinion. So I really don't like the way it's all set up. But his other question, I completely agree with him on. I think it's ludicrous that you take anyone's voting rights away. I don't care what your charges are. The only thing I would say you should not ever be able to vote again for is if you were convicted of voter fraud. By the way, you can't name on one hand how many people have ever been caught doing that.
Right.
So my opinion is it's ridiculous to take anyone's voting rights away.
With your inmates in your jail now, I don't know. I know there are some who are felons maybe that wouldn't, I don't know if they've been convicted. But come this election, November, okay, there's some individuals incarcerated. Are they able to vote in any way in your jail? They are, okay.
So the election office reaches out to my folks. I saw an email last week or so, I forgot, but it happens on a regular basis. And I forget exactly how the process works, but yes, they communicate with our case management staff. We communicate to the population. Obviously, there are some that are not eligible. I can't waive a wand and fix that, but I agree with Ron that it's a terrible law. It always has been. We should eliminate that as something that we do. And you know what? And for those of you who are scared of that, whoever you are that believe, oh my God, that's just the wrong thing. First of all, that's hypocritical, because most people have committed some form of crimes in their life. They just weren't caught, and you continue to get to vote. And so the reality of that is, if you're scared of people that are voting, oftentimes young people don't vote anyway. We should get them to vote. That's one thing. If I had my way, we'd make it a holiday. We would close schools, and we would have all election locations at the schools, and encourage, if not, recruit kids to come with their family to the election day and make it a part of our society a different way. I lived in Australia for several months, or nearly a year or so, back in the 90s, and in Australia they fine you if you don't vote. Now that's pretty bizarre. 98% of the people vote, but you receive a citation if you don't. But I'm more inclined to find a way to encourage people to do it, and Ron's right. I think it's ridiculous that felons don't restore their rights when they complete their sentence. It's one thing if you say while in prison. Some people say that. I don't even agree with that. But I definitely don't agree that once you've completed your sentence, you paid your debt to society, that you can't vote again. And that's just ridiculous. But anyway, I don't agree with a lot of laws. So
listen, I'm on the same page on you. Especially ridiculous when they get out. They paid their debt. Bring it back.
Right.
They should address that. Listen, we'll take a break. We come back. We've got Joe and Ronnie on the line for you, and some more to discuss with Davidson County Sheriff Darren Hall right after this.